The first sign of the anomaly appeared as a blip on the long-range scanners of the UEG Vanguard, one of humanity's last operational warships. Captain Kieran Holt leaned forward in his command chair, eyes narrowing as he studied the sensor feed. "Lieutenant, confirm that reading. Is it a glitch, or are we actually seeing something out there?" His voice was steady, but a flicker of unease gnawed at the edge of his mind. The bridge of the Vanguard was quiet except for the faint hum of the ship's systems. Most of the crew were seasoned veterans, hardened by the ongoing war against the Zarathan Dominion, an empire of reptilian warlords that had spent the last 20 years trying to wipe humanity off the galactic map. "Sir, it's no glitch," Lieutenant Aoki confirmed, fingers flying across her console. "We're detecting a warship of unknown origin, approximately 100,000 kilometers off our port bow. No known transponder codes, no energy signature that matches any recorded vessel." Holt exhaled slowly. "Put it on screen." The main view screen flickered, revealing a warship unlike anything they'd ever seen. Its hull was a deep, matte black, almost as if it absorbed the light around it. The design was sleek, angular, predatory, yet it lacked the aggressive protrusions of Zarathan warships, which were adorned with spikes and bladed armor. "Who the hell are you?" Holt murmured to himself. Then, louder, "Hail them!" A tense silence followed as the comms officer sent out a standard first contact transmission. Seconds stretched into an eternity. Then, without warning, the mystery warship moved. "No engine burn detected, but it's closing in," Aoki reported, her voice edged with tension. Holt stood. "Shields up. Weapons!" Before he could finish, the ship transmitted a signal. Not an attack, not a warning, just a simple text message appearing on their screen. "Humanity under threat. We are here to help." A chill ran through Holt. "What the hell does that mean?" he muttered. Then the Zarathan fleet jumped in. 6 battleships, their crimson hulls glinting against the backdrop of deep space, emerged from slipstream. Plasma cannons charged, shields powered up. There was no time for negotiation, no chance of retreat. The Dominion had found them. "Battle stations," Holt barked. But before the Vanguard could react, the unknown warship acted first. It moved like nothing Holt had ever seen. One moment, it was idle. The next, it streaked forward, its black hull cutting through space like a phantom. Beams of blue-white energy erupted from its sleek frame, slicing through the first Zarathan battleship as if it were made of paper. The alien vessel split apart, its explosion momentarily illuminating the void. The Vanguard's bridge was silent in shock. "What the hell is that ship?" someone whispered. The unknown warship kept moving, weaving through enemy fire like it could see the future. It struck with pinpoint accuracy, dismantling the Zarathan formation in a matter of seconds. "5 enemy ships down," Aoki reported, her voice breathless. "The last one's running." The final Zarathan battleship turned to flee, but the black warship didn't let it escape. A final pulse of energy shot forth, reducing the enemy vessel to dust. And then, silence. Holt stared at the wreckage, then at the mysterious warship that had just saved them. A second message appeared on screen. "The war is not over. You must survive. More are coming." Holt's stomach tightened. Whatever this thing was, whoever was behind it, they knew something. And if they were right, this war was far from finished. He straightened. "Hail them again." The ship didn't answer. It simply turned and vanished into the void. And the only thing left was the warning it had given. More are coming. The bridge remained silent for what felt like an eternity. The only sound was the quiet hum of the ship's systems and the steady beeping of the sensor consoles. Every officer on the Vanguard was staring at the debris field, where 6 Zarathan battleships had just been turned to dust. No one spoke, as if afraid that doing so would somehow summon another enemy fleet. Captain Kieran Holt exhaled and turned to Aoki. "Did we get any readings on that ship? Energy signatures, drive type, weapon systems, anything?" Aoki's fingers flew over her console, but she shook her head. "Negative, sir. Whatever tech they're using, it doesn't match anything in our database. Their energy output was off the charts, but there was no heat signature, no standard propulsion readings. It's like they were moving without engines." "That's impossible," Commander Patel, the ship's XO, muttered. "Everything in space needs propulsion, unless they're breaking every law of physics we understand," Holt finished. Patel's frown deepened. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have. Instead, they helped us. And now they're gone. Holt turned back to the view screen, staring into the empty void where the mysterious warship had disappeared. He felt a strange unease creeping into his gut. Something about this didn't sit right. The Zarathan were aggressive, yes, but they weren't reckless. Sending 6 battleships to hunt down the Vanguard was overkill, almost as if they had been trying to wipe them out before something else could interfere. And then there was that message. More are coming. "More of what?" Holt murmured to himself. "Captain," Aoki spoke up, "we're picking up a residual signal from the ship. It left something behind." Holt snapped his attention to her. "Show me." A new set of coordinates flashed onto the screen, a point in deep space, far beyond the reach of human colonies or Zarathan-controlled sectors. "That's a dead zone," Patel said, folding his arms. "No known outposts, no habitable planets, nothing." "Then why point us there?" Holt asked. No one had an answer. A low, urgent beep interrupted the conversation. The comms officer, Ensign Carter, turned in his seat. "Sir, we're receiving a high-priority transmission from Fleet Command." Holt nodded. "Patch it through." The screen flickered, revealing the grim face of Admiral Catherine Briggs, one of the highest-ranking officers in the United Earth Government's Navy. She looked exhausted, deep lines on her face, her normally sharp eyes darkened by fatigue. "Captain Holt," she began, skipping any pleasantries, "we have a situation." "Understood, Admiral," Holt replied. "If this is about the Zarathan ambush, we handled it. Though, not alone." Briggs narrowed her eyes. "Explain." Holt quickly summarized the encounter. The sudden attack, the unknown warship, its impossible firepower, and the warning it had left behind. By the time he was finished, Briggs was silent. "Admiral?" Holt prompted. She exhaled, rubbing her temples. "Captain, we've been getting reports, unconfirmed at first, but this changes everything. You're not the first to see that ship." Holt exchanged glances with Patel. "You mean this thing has appeared elsewhere?" Briggs nodded grimly. 3 other engagements across different sectors. Each time a human vessel was under attack. Each time that warship intervened. And then it disappeared. "Admiral," Patel said carefully, "do we have any idea who's behind it?" Briggs hesitated for a moment. But that's not the part that worries me." She leaned forward, her voice dropping slightly. 2 hours ago, we lost contact with Outpost Theta 9. No distress signal, no debris, just silence. The station housed over 10,000 personnel, Captain, and now it's gone. A heavy weight settled in Holt's chest. "Gone? You think the Zarathan—" "We don't know," Briggs interrupted. "But here's the thing. Theta 9 was close to the coordinates your mystery ship just sent you." Silence fell over the bridge. Everyone was thinking the same thing. If that warship was trying to help them, was it leading them to the truth, or was it leading them into something worse? Briggs's voice cut through the tension. "I need the Vanguard to investigate. You're the only ship in range. But be careful, Holt. We have no idea what you're walking into." Holt nodded. "Understood, Admiral. We'll depart immediately." The transmission ended. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Holt straightened. Set course for the coordinates. Aoki hesitated. Sir, if Theta 9 is gone, whatever did that could still be there. I know, Holt said, his jaw tightening. But we need answers, and we're going to get them. The Vanguard's engines roared to life, and as they jumped into slipstream, one question remained. What was waiting for them in the dark? The transition into slipstream was smooth, but the tension on the bridge was anything but. The crew of the Vanguard had fought the Zarathan for years, had faced overwhelming odds and survived. But this was different. This wasn't just war. This was something unknown, something that defied reason. Captain Kieran Holt sat in his chair, fingers steepled, eyes locked on the forward display. The unknown warship had left them coordinates near Theta 9, an outpost that had simply vanished. No wreckage, no distress calls, just silence. And that warship, whatever it was, it had known something. ETA to the coordinates? He asked. 3 minutes, Aoki responded, her voice tight. Bringing long-range sensors online now. The screen flickered with data. Patel leaned forward. Anything? Aoki hesitated. I don't know what I'm looking at. Holt frowned. Clarify. Aoki tapped at her console, frustration creeping into her voice. Sir, I'm picking up something. Energy readings are erratic. There's no debris, no signs of the station, just an anomaly. A massive one. Visual? Aoki patched the data through, and the main screen filled with an image that made the entire bridge go silent. A black void. Not the empty darkness of space, not the absence of light, but something deeper, something unnatural. A perfect sphere of absolute nothingness, floating where Outpost Theta 9 should have been. Its edges shimmered slightly, as if reality itself struggled to define it. A heavy weight settled in Holt's chest. What the hell is that? Patel whispered. No one had an answer. Aoki swallowed hard. Sir, this anomaly. It's radiating energy signatures across the entire spectrum. Some of them match known slipstream fluctuations, others are completely foreign. But one thing is clear. Theta 9 isn't here. That thing is. Holt clenched his jaw. Any sign of our mystery warship? Aoki scanned the readings again, shaking her head. Negative. But if it wanted us here, I don't think it's done with us yet. A chill crept down Holt's spine. Sir, Patel said, his voice low. This could be a weapon. A new kind of Zarathan attack, something we've never seen before. Holt shook his head. Number. If they had something like this, they'd have used it by now. This is something else. A sudden alarm blared. Carter, the comms officer, turned sharply in his chair. Sir, we're picking up a transmission. Holt's pulse quickened. From where? Carter hesitated, fingers flying over the console. That's just it, sir. I don't know. It's coming from inside the anomaly. Aoki whipped her head around. That's not possible. There's nothing inside. There can't be. But the message played anyway. A voice, distorted, mechanical, yet unmistakably human. Help us. A heartbeat of silence. Then the voice came again, layered, as if 100 different versions of the same message were speaking at once. Help us. We are still here. Holt felt a cold sweat on the back of his neck. That's... Aoki's voice broke. Sir, I ran the audio through the database. That's from Outpost Theta 9. Patel stiffened. But the station is gone. Carter turned, his face pale. Then what's inside that thing? The ship's proximity alarm suddenly screamed. Aoki gasped. Sir, something just came out of the anomaly? On the view screen, the impossible happened. A ship emerged from the black void. Slowly, hesitantly, like a wounded animal crawling out of its den. Its hull was shattered, half melted, covered in deep scars. It should have been dead in space, and yet somehow it moved. Holt recognized the markings instantly. It was one of theirs. A human warship, the Nightingale, a ship that had been reported destroyed 3 years ago. "Sir," Aoki whispered, "we have a ghost ship." Holt swallowed hard. "Open a channel," he ordered. Carter hesitated. "Captain, what if it's not them anymore?" Holt's gut twisted. There was only one way to find out. "Do it!" The channel opened, and the voice that came through chilled them all to the bone. "Captain Holt," it rasped, "please, don't let it take us back." And then, before Holt could respond, the black void pulsed. And something else started coming through. The anomaly pulsed again. A slow, deliberate rhythm, as if something inside was breathing. The Nightingale drifted closer, its engines flickering weakly, like a dying heartbeat. On the bridge of the Vanguard, no one moved. "Sir," Aoki's voice was barely above a whisper, "we're picking up life signs aboard the Nightingale, but they're—" She hesitated, staring at her screen as if she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Holt's jaw tightened. "They're what, Lieutenant?" Aoki turned to face him, her expression pale. "They're wrong. There are fluctuations in their vitals, like they're shifting between states of existence. Some of them are reading as dead. Others aren't fully human anymore." The words sent a chill through the bridge. Patel exhaled sharply. "Captain, we need to think very carefully about what we do next." But before Holt could respond, the comms crackled again. The voice from the Nightingale returned, distorted, desperate. "Please, don't let it take us back! It wants us back!" Holt clenched his fists. "Who are we speaking to?" For a moment, silence. Then the voice returned, weaker this time. "Commander Kieran Holt, UEG Naval Service, serial number 572-09. A deathly silence fell over the bridge. Patel turned to Holt, his face rigid. "Sir, that's your name." Holt felt the blood drain from his face. "No," he said, shaking his head. "That's impossible." But then Carter gasped. "Captain, I ran an ID check. The Nightingale's crew manifest. There was a Commander Kieran Holt aboard when it was lost 3 years ago." A cold, suffocating weight pressed on Holt's chest. "You're saying there's another me on that ship?" Carter nodded, his face pale. "Yes, sir." Holt turned back to the screen. The Nightingale loomed before them, its broken hull barely holding together. It looked like a corpse of a ship, something that had been dead for years but refused to stay that way. Then the anomaly pulsed again. And something else started coming through. The void ripped open like a gaping wound in space. The darkness spilled outward, writhing tendrils of black mist curling at the edges of reality. The ship's lights flickered. The air on the bridge suddenly felt thinner. "Captain," Aoki shouted, "something is emerging." Holt's heart pounded as the readings flooded in. A shape moved within the darkness. No, many shapes. Jagged, insectoid figures that shimmered like ghosts, their forms never staying solid for more than a second. Limbs twitched at unnatural angles. Eyes, hundreds of them burning with cold violet light, blinked in and out of existence. Patel took a step back. "Those are not Zarathan." Holt's fingers curled into fists. "Weapons online." "Now!" Aoki's hands flew over the console. "Sir, targeting systems are struggling to lock onto them. It's like they aren't fully... here." Carter's voice was barely steady. "Incoming transmission from the Nightingale again." Holt turned to the screen. "You have to leave," the voice pleaded. "You don't understand what you found." The comms crackled, distorting. "We went in. We shouldn't have gone in." Another voice joined it, a different one, layered with something inhuman. "Return. The cycle must continue. A low, droning hum vibrated through the Vanguard, shaking the walls. The lights flickered again. Every fiber of Holt's being screamed at him to run. But then the anomaly pulsed again, stronger this time. And suddenly, the unknown warship reappeared. It came out of nowhere, just like before, cutting through space like a black blade. Its presence sent the insectoid shapes scattering like cockroaches fleeing from a light. The Vanguard's sensors flared. "They're transmitting a message," Aoki said. Holt's eyes locked onto the screen as the message came through. "They are not your enemy. They are not your allies. Do not enter the void." Holt's mind raced. "Then what the hell are we supposed to do?" The mysterious ship didn't answer. Instead, it turned its weapons on the anomaly itself and fired. A brilliant pulse of energy erupted from its hull, slamming into the black sphere. The entire anomaly shuddered, its edges rippling like a disturbed pool of water. The jagged creatures screamed, not in sound, but in a way that resonated inside Holt's skull, a deep and unnatural violation of thought. And then, the anomaly began pulling itself inward. "No way," Aoki breathed. "It's collapsing." The Nightingale lurched. The ship trembled violently as if something inside it was fighting to escape. The voice came again, but this time it was warped beyond recognition. Stretched, fragmented, wrong. "We don't belong here. We never belonged here." And then, in an instant, the void imploded. A deafening silence followed. The Nightingale was gone. The creatures were gone. The black sphere that had swallowed Outpost Theta 9 was gone. Only empty space remained. Holt stared at the screen, unable to process what had just happened. His hands felt numb. His breathing was too shallow. Aoki's voice broke the silence. "Sir, what just happened?" Before Holt could respond, the mysterious warship sent one final message. "It is not over." And then, just like before, it vanished, leaving the Vanguard alone in the darkness. The silence on the bridge was suffocating. The Vanguard drifted in the empty void where the anomaly had collapsed, its crew too stunned to speak. Holt exhaled slowly, forcing himself to breathe. His fingers tightened around the armrests of his chair. "Status report," he said, voice steady despite the unease clawing at his chest. Aoki's hands flew over the console. "Scans show. Nothing, sir. The anomaly is completely gone. No residual energy, no distortions. It's like it was never there." "That ship," Patel muttered. "The black warship. It did that. It knew exactly what to do." Holt nodded. "And it left us with more questions than answers." He turned to Carter. "Any sign of the Nightingale?" Carter hesitated, checking his readouts. "No, sir. It's gone." Holt's jaw clenched. He had no idea what had just happened to that ship. If it had been erased, if it had been pulled back into whatever hell it came from, or if something worse had happened to it. But one thing was certain. This wasn't over. The warning from the unknown warship echoed in his mind. It is not over. Aoki suddenly tensed. "Sir, picking up a new signal. Small, weak, some kind of encrypted data package. It's not from the warship. It was left behind after the anomaly collapsed." Holt straightened. "Decrypt it." Aoki worked quickly. A few moments later, a screen filled with lines of garbled text. Most of it was unreadable, corrupted beyond recognition, but a small portion was intact. Patel read it aloud. "Project Long Night. Status compromised. Origin unknown. Classified UEG clearance required. Final warning, they are coming." Holt felt the weight of those last 3 words settle deep in his bones. Patel exhaled sharply. "What the hell is Project Long Night?" Holt didn't know, but he sure as hell was going to find out. "Set course for Earth," he ordered. Maximum speed. Patel frowned. Sir, do you think Command knows about this? Holt didn't answer immediately. Instead, he stared at the screen, at the remnants of a message someone, or something, had left for them. They know something, he said finally. And it's time we find out exactly what. The engines roared to life, and the Vanguard jumped to slipstream, heading for answers. But in the darkness of space, where the anomaly had once been, something stirred. Something unseen. Something waiting. And it wasn't finished with humanity yet. The Vanguard hurtled through slipstream, a streak of light slicing through the void. The hum of the engines filled the ship, but on the bridge, silence reigned. Captain Kieran Holt sat in his chair, eyes locked on the encrypted message displayed on the main screen. Project Long Night. Status compromised. Origin unknown, classified UEG clearance required. Final warning, they are coming. The words gnawed at him. Tell me we have something, he said, his voice breaking the uneasy quiet. Aoki looked up from her station. I'm running decryption protocols now, but most of the data is corrupted. This wasn't just encrypted. It was purposely wiped before being transmitted. Someone didn't want it falling into the wrong hands. Holt exhaled. And yet, someone still wanted us to see it. Patel crossed his arms. If this was UEG classified, there's no way a deep space outpost like Theta 9 should have had access to it. That station was a research hub, not a Black Ops facility. Carter, the comms officer, frowned. Sir, there's something else bothering me about this message. Holt turned to him. Go on. Carter hesitated before speaking. The transmission wasn't on any standard UEG channel. In fact, the encryption style doesn't match anything we've used in the last 20 years. It's like an old relic, something from a forgotten project. A deep unease settled over Holt. If the UEG buried this, then whatever Project Long Night was, it was never meant to be found, Patel muttered. And now it's compromised. Aoki's console beeped, and her eyes widened. Sir, I just pulled up something strange from the metadata. She hesitated, then swallowed. This message wasn't sent from Theta 9. Holt's stomach turned. Then where did it come from? Aoki stared at her screen. According to the embedded coordinates, it came from Earth. The bridge fell silent. That's impossible, Patel said. Theta 9 was wiped out. The anomaly formed there. How the hell did the warning come from Earth? Holt didn't have an answer, but a growing sense of dread crept up his spine. How much longer until we arrive? He asked. 15 minutes, Aoki responded. Good, Holt said, standing. Because when we get there, someone at Fleet Command is going to give me some damn answers. 15 minutes later, the Vanguard dropped out of slipstream on the outskirts of the Sol system. The comforting sight of Earth, blue and vibrant against the void, filled the view screen. Around it, the familiar lattice of orbital stations, shipyards, and UEG defense platforms stood like silent sentinels. Earth Traffic Control is hailing us, Carter announced. Patch them through. A crisp voice filled the bridge. UEG Vanguard, this is Sol Defense. You are cleared for approach. Fleet Command has been notified of your arrival. Understood, Holt replied. We have high-priority information for Command. It's urgent. A brief pause. Then, acknowledged, Captain. You are to report directly to Admiral Briggs upon docking. Security detail will be waiting. Holt exchanged a glance with Patel. A security detail? That was unusual. Something's wrong, Patel murmured. Holt nodded. Let's find out what... The Vanguard eased forward, passing the orbital defenses and docking with Fleet Command's primary station, Athena 1, a massive, heavily fortified structure that housed the UEG's highest-ranking officials. As soon as Holt and his senior officers stepped off the ship, A squad of armed security personnel was waiting. "Captain Holt?" one of the officers asked, visor reflecting the bright station lights. Holt nodded. "That's me." "Admiral Briggs is expecting you. Follow us." Minutes later, Holt and his team stood in Admiral Briggs's office, the door sealing shut behind them. Briggs was already there, her back to them as she stared at the holographic display of the Sol system. When she finally turned, her expression was unreadable. "You weren't supposed to see that message?" she said flatly. Holt didn't flinch. "I figured as much. But we did." Briggs exhaled sharply. "Then you already know more than you should." "Admiral," Patel cut in, "Theta 9 is gone. The anomaly, the Nightingale, that unknown warship. What the hell is going on? What is Project Long Night?" Briggs was silent for a long time. Then, finally, she spoke. "Project Long Night was an experiment," she said. "A mistake we buried decades ago." She pressed a button on her desk, and the holographic display shifted. Data files, old schematics, and encrypted reports filled the air. Holt's breath caught as he recognized one of the images. It was the anomaly. "We were trying to control something we didn't understand," Briggs continued. "A technology we didn't create. We found something, deep in the void beyond charted space, a remnant of an intelligence far beyond our own." She looked directly at Holt. "It wasn't alien, Captain. It was older. Older than the Zarathan. Older than any race we've ever encountered. And it doesn't obey the rules of our universe." A chill ran down Holt's spine. "What happened?" he asked. Briggs's gaze darkened. "We woke it up." Silence fell over the room. Briggs turned back to the hologram, and her voice was quieter now. "We thought we could control it, use it, but it was never meant for us. The project was shut down, every trace of it erased." She exhaled. "Or so we thought." Patel's voice was tight. "Theta 9, was it built over a Long Night facility?" Briggs nodded grimly. Holt closed his eyes. Damn it. Aoki was the first to ask the question none of them wanted to say out loud. "Admiral, if the project was buried, then why is it active again?" Briggs's face was like stone. "Because, Lieutenant," she said, "someone out there is trying to bring it back." Far beyond Earth, in the cold reaches of space, something stirred. The anomaly was gone. But the things inside it weren't. They had seen. They had felt. And now, they knew. The warning had come too late, because they were already coming. Holt stared at Admiral Briggs, his mind racing. "Who?" he demanded. "Who the hell would want to bring something like this back?" Briggs didn't answer right away. Instead, she tapped a command on her console, and a new holographic display flickered to life. It was a classified personnel dossier. Images, names, mission reports. Holt stepped closer, eyes scanning the faces of scientists, engineers, high-ranking military officials. Then, his gaze froze on one name: Dr. Victor Lang. Holt felt a wave of nausea twist his stomach. "That's impossible," he said. "Lang died 15 years ago." Briggs's expression was grim. "That's what we thought. But 3 months ago, intelligence intercepted fragmented transmissions from deep space stations outside UEG control. Someone was accessing old Long Night files, piecing together the research, and every trace of it led back to one name: Lang." Patel's eyes narrowed. "If he's alive, where is he?" Briggs shook her head. "That's the problem. We don't know. We traced his last known location to a black site lab on Titan, one that was destroyed 2 weeks ago." Holt exhaled sharply. "Destroyed? By what?" Briggs hesitated. "Not what? Who?" She tapped the console again, and a grainy, distorted security feed played. It showed a figure moving through the burning wreckage of the Titan lab. The footage was low resolution, corrupted by static, but Holt could still make out the details. A man, walking with eerie precision through the ruins. And despite the fire raging around him, despite the crumbling walls, he was untouched. Holt's blood turned to ice. The figure turned toward the camera just for a second, just long enough for his face to be visible. Dr. Victor Lang. But his eyes, they weren't human anymore. They burned with an unnatural violet glow, the same glow Holt had seen inside the anomaly. Briggs shut off the feed. "He's not just alive, Captain. He's something else now." A heavy silence settled over the room. Holt clenched his jaw. "And you think he's trying to bring Project Long Night back?" Briggs nodded. "Not just bring it back. Finish what he started." Patel inhaled sharply. "We need to find him, now." Briggs met Holt's gaze. "That's why I called you here. You've seen the anomaly. You've seen what's out there. And you're the only ones who might stand a chance of stopping this." Holt straightened. "Where do we start?" Briggs tapped her console again. A set of coordinates flashed onto the display. Lang left a trail. A deep space station on the edge of the Centauri expanse. An abandoned UEG facility. Intelligence believes it was one of his backup research sites. If there's any trace of what he's planning, it'll be there. Holt exhaled, already feeling the weight of what was coming. He turned to Patel, Aoki, and Carter. "Get the Vanguard prepped for launch. We leave in 1 hour." Briggs's voice stopped him as he turned to leave. "Holt." He looked back. Her expression was grave. "This isn't just a mission. If Lang succeeds, we won't be able to stop what's coming." Holt nodded, his jaw tight. "Then we won't let him." He turned and walked out, the weight of the unknown pressing against him. Because deep in his gut, he knew. This was just the beginning. "Trying," she muttered. "But—" The terminal glitched, static flooding the screen. The words on it shifted, replaced by something new. "He sees you." Then the station screamed. A deep, reverberating hum echoed through the walls. Not an alarm, not machinery, but something alive. The lights above them flickered wildly, throwing shadows that moved in ways they shouldn't have. "Movement! 12 o'clock!" a Marine shouted. Holt barely had time to react before something stepped into the light. It had once been human. At least something like a human. Its skin was stretched thin, its limbs too long, its fingers ending in jagged, claw-like protrusions. Its eyes, God, its eyes, were like Lang's, glowing violet, filled with something that wasn't alive, but wasn't dead either. The thing twitched, as if adjusting to the gravity. Then it charged. "Open fire!" Holt roared. The air exploded with gunfire. Muzzle flashes lit up the dark like bursts of lightning, bullets tearing into the creature. It staggered but didn't stop. It should have gone down, but instead it kept coming. As if pain was just an inconvenience. It lunged, too fast, and one of the Marines screamed as it ripped him from the ground, claws sinking deep. Holt didn't hesitate. He raised his sidearm, aimed for its head, and fired. The bullet tore through its skull. For a split second, the thing froze. Then its body convulsed violently, as if something inside it was being ripped away. It let out a sound. Not pain, but frustration. Then it collapsed. And all at once, the station went silent again. Holt's breathing was heavy. He turned to the others. "Status!" "Ramos is down," Patel growled, checking the wounded Marine. Blood pooled beneath him. Too much blood. "Damn thing gutted him." The Marine coughed weakly, eyes wide. He tried to speak, but only blood bubbled from his lips. Then he went still. A sickening dread settled over the team. Then Aoki's voice came in a whisper. "Sir," his eyes. Holt looked, and his stomach dropped. The dead Marine's eyes. They were turning violet. And then he started moving again. "Fall back!" Holt barked. "Now!" But before they could retreat, the station screamed again, and this time, they weren't alone anymore. The station trembled, the walls vibrating as a deep, resonating hum filled the air. It was the sound of something awakening. The fallen Marine, Ramos, convulsed violently, his body twitching in unnatural ways. His fingers bent at wrong angles, his jaw unhinged slightly, and then his eyes snapped open. Glowing. Violet. Then he moved. Holt didn't hesitate. He raised his rifle and fired. The first shot hit Ramos in the chest, knocking him back. The second, straight to the skull, put him down for good. But it was too late. From the depths of the station, a new sound emerged. A chorus of shifting bodies, a skittering, crawling noise. More things were waking up. "Captain!" Aoki yelled. "We have to go, now!" Holt clenched his jaw. "Move! Fall back to the ship!" They ran. The corridors twisted as they sprinted through the darkness, the flickering lights barely illuminating the nightmare unfolding behind them. From the shadows, figures emerged, distorted, twisted versions of the station's old crew. Their bodies twitched unnaturally, their movements jerky, as if something else was piloting them. And all of them had those eyes. "Go, go, go!" Patel shouted, firing behind them. The bullets struck home, but the creatures barely reacted. Holt turned just long enough to see one of them grinning. They were enjoying this. They burst onto the docking platform, the Vanguard's ramp already lowered. The stationed Marines opened fire, covering their retreat as Holt and his team sprinted up the ramp. The second they were aboard, Holt bellowed, "Seal the hatch! Get us the hell out of here!" The ship's hull rumbled as the engines roared to life. The docking clamps disengaged, and the Vanguard shot away from the station. Holt collapsed into his chair, breathing hard. Patel, Aoki, and the surviving Marines stood in silence, still gripping their weapons. Then Carter's voice crackled through the comms. "Sir, you need to see this." Holt forced himself to stand and turned to the view screen. The station, what was left of it, was changing. The metal itself seemed to melt, shifting into an organic, pulsing form. The very walls twisted and bent as if something inside was reshaping it. The station wasn't just a ruin anymore. It was becoming something else. Then, in the center of the grotesque transformation, a new shape emerged. A figure standing on the docking platform, staring up at them. Even from here, Holt could see his face. Dr. Victor Lang. But he was no longer human. His features were stretched, elongated, his violet eyes burning with something inhuman. He smiled. And then, without moving his lips, his voice echoed through the comms. "You were warned." The Vanguard's warning klaxons blared. "Sir!" Aoki shouted. "The station, it's destabilizing!" Holt's heart pounded. "Get us out of here!" The ship's engines fired at full burn, tearing through space just as the station collapsed inward. The grotesque structure folded in on itself, its form warping, sinking into a new anomaly, a swirling, violet rift. For a second, it seemed contained. Then, it exploded outward. A shockwave of pure energy rippled through space, tendrils of unnatural blackness stretching outward. The Vanguard barely outran it, the ship's shield screaming under the pressure as they jumped into slipstream. And then, silence. The crew was shaken, breathless. Aoki looked at her console in horror. "Sir," she whispered, "I don't think we stopped it." Holt stared at the flickering data on the screen. Whatever Lang had become, whatever he had unleashed, it was still spreading. It wasn't just in the station anymore. It was out there, growing, spreading, a virus in the fabric of reality itself. And Victor Lang had opened the door. Holt clenched his fists. He had no idea what came next. But one thing was clear. This war wasn't over. It was just beginning.